Congressman Chip Roy. Hallelujah. Thank you. Yes, please, come on up.
Well, thank you, Sylvia. Thank you to all of you. Thank you so much on behalf of the unborn around the world. Thank you for being here today, making a difference and standing for life. President Reagan once famously said, as I know many of you know, that he's noticed that for abortion, that everybody that is for abortion has already been born. I would note that this is a particularly true statement for someone who wears pink shoes in the Texas Senate and for taking the lives of the unborn in the third trimester. Which brings me to why this is all personal to me. And bear with me for just a minute. My dear friend was pregnant 5 years ago this month when I received a call. And she asked me to be the baby's godfather. She had a weird sound in her voice. Something was wrong with the baby's scans. She had a monthly checkup with her OB the following week. Her husband had to work. She had her 2 other boys with her. And she went in expecting the doctor would reassure her. But the doctor looked her straight in the eye and asked her if she wanted to terminate the pregnancy. She called us right after the appointment, understandably angry and terrified. Terminate? Why? She explained that the doctor had asked her the question, and this is what's important. She'd asked her the question in the same tone she might have used when ordering coffee at Starbucks. She didn't blink an eye. She asked it in front of her 2 little boys. She asked without her husband there. She offered no explanation or comfort. It was cold. The doctor told her she had to decide quickly because it was at 22 weeks. Our friend's response was a source of pride for us. She said she almost laughed and then politely responded, termination's not an option, and she walked out and never returned. We all realize that God put our friend in this position for a reason. She told us that baby would know love and would feel love. In a world where everything is to everyone seems to be so sensitive, we have completely desensitized abortion. Notice we use politically correct words. One is pro-choice. The pregnancy is terminated because no one wants to say that the baby was killed. But if you're ending an innocent life, we're not sure what other way to put it. So how did it all turn out? Her ultrasound was completely normal in 24 weeks. They just couldn't get a good read at a 20-week appointment. Her baby was born in May of 2015. He's completely healthy. He was a boy, by the way. And none of us, but particularly his loving mother, can imagine life without him. He is my godson, and I'm proud of him. This is what we fight against, isn't it? We fight for a beautiful life, but we fight against that cold, mechanical, dispassionate portrayal of a living thing as purely a material thing. That this week marks 47 years since Roe versus Wade. We all know that. And there are 2 stories. One is the story of death and despair. The other is a story of hope. The death and despair of 60 million lives lost. Planned Parenthood, an organization masquerading as a women's health organization, but begs for $500 million of your taxpayer money so they can unload $45 million against candidates they don't prefer. It's a disgusting and cynical treatment of life. And I saw it personally as First Assistant Attorney General. I saw videos so grotesque, I'm not going to discuss them here. And you all know that. You know what that organization stands for. And that is why I'm so proud of this president working hard to defund Planned Parenthood. It is noteworthy that abortion reached an annual high of 29 abortions per 1,000 American women in 1980, just 7 years after Roe versus Wade. But then something happened. You happened. You are the story of life and of hope. Strong people like you helping more Americans saying no to abortion. Because of you, the annual number of abortions was going down, and that number I just talked about, we have now crossed the line. In 2014, we dropped down to 14.6 abortions per 1,000 women, which is less than it was in 1973 when Roe was decided, because of the work of people like you. Because of people like you, people are choosing life. And because of you, leaders of this country are fighting to make it more likely for Americans to choose life. The President of the United States is putting in place as judges who respect the Constitution 187 new nominees to the bench. Two Supreme Court justices, 50 Court of Appeal judges, and 133 district court judges who respect the Constitution and the right to life. The President of the United States is making important changes despite a Congress that is fighting him tooth and nail, forcing Planned Parenthood to forfeit $60 million in federal funding for refusing to comply with regulations issued by HHS. On just this Wednesday, CMS, the federal government, approved a 1115 waiver for Texas, which restores federal Medicaid funding to family planning and women's health, while also allowing Texas to exclude funding to abortion service providers. And finally, the administration reinstated the Mexico City policy, which means that there isn't $500 million being used of your taxpayer money to expand abortion in Mexico, but also around the world, so that we're no longer spending $8 billion making sure that we're preventing abortions around the world. And finally, in Congress, we're still fighting. Despite a Democratic Congress that refuses to stand for life, we are pushing for a Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. We have 188 Republican supporters of that and only 3 Democrats. You know what we need to do in 2020. We need to make sure the President of the United States is reelected, and we have a Congress that respects life. Thank you all very much, and God bless America. God bless you.
Thank you so much.